but tomorrow I want to do insurance, so I'm just gonna give you the Cole's notes on this and go from there. So to get the principal, obviously we subtract, so you should have gotten 280 here, right? Just subtract these two to get that. This is right, this is your I, and this is your payment. Okay, so to get principal, we just go payment minus I, like that's all we need to do. And then how did we, right? There was something we got before we came down to this, right? That original amount went down by 280 to get that, right? So in order for you to get back to the original, we just add the 280. So that's 192,000. I don't know if you want to put this down already because we're going to need it later. So we went 192,000 minus 280 to get us that unpaid balance, okay? This one is the tough one because you have nothing here. There's nothing you can do to the payment to come up with that. But that's when you subtract these two, right? Subtract these two to get that answer right there. So I'm going to go 191,720 minus 191,438.66. So you know, right? If you subtract these, you know that this number went down by the principal, right? And once you have the principal, you can just subtract these two to get that interest. Right? So this is 1,200 minus principal. And that gives you, I'm just going to look at my notes here, 918.66. So if this is what I'm going to say, if these two are both blank, go over here and subtract your unpaid balances to get that principal and then work your way back. That's the only way you can get it, right? Next, you have the interest here. We just subtract these two, right? So we go 1,200 minus the principal again, and that will be 915.96. And then this needs to be subtracted from that to bring it down, right? So minus 284.04 to get to the 191,154.62. So that's how you fill that in. So to answer this question, I already kind of put it out here. It's $192,000 is the original loan, the original mortgage. You just had to play detective and go back in time, and so that was 192. Now is where the bonus area arises. What is the interest rate for the mortgage? Yeah, it is 5.75. But how did we get there, right? That's the curious. So I'm going to go C above, because I'm not going to have enough room for this. We're going to use up that space above. So watch this. I'm going to go up here and just remember that the interest, to get the interest, we go unpaid balance times the interest rate divided by 100, all of that divided by 12. That's how we start, right? I'm going to split this in half here because I'm going to use the other half for the question D. So look at this. The interest paid for this first month, if you just lock into this first month, the interest you paid is 920. So we're going to plug in 920 there. My unpaid balance is the 192,000. My unpaid balance is 192,000. I'm going to call the interest rate just R, and I'm going to divide that by 100, and all of that is divided by 12. So now I work backwards. I want to get R all on its own. So you're like, hey, there's so much stuff going on. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to go with times 12 here. Times 12, times 12, both sides. And then I can do this. I can cancel out those two 12s there. 12 times 920 is 11,040. That leaves me with 192,000 times R divided by 100. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 100. Sorry, that's a little bit tight, but I'm multiplying both sides by 100 so I can do this. And that leaves me with 192,000 R. I'm just going to put the R right next to that. This is how, like, if you take any course like Red River, this is how you work backwards, right? You might need it for a trade, right? So if you divide both sides by 192,000, you get to do this. The key is do one thing at a time, right? And then it's 11,040,000 divided by 192,000, and voila. Is that what you said, MJ? Okay. That rate is as a percent 5.75. So yeah, a lot of steps for that one. I'm curious, how did you do it? Did you kind of follow this? Okay. I'll look at it in a bit. Okay, so I want to do the next thing, and I will still give you the test. I want you to at least see your test. So what's the next question there? You read it because I don't want to go up and down with my notes. Okay. What does it say? Could you determine the total interest paid? Is it possible? You need, so for D here, you need time in years. You need to know, like, how many years am I going to take to pay it off based on this. So you gotta play detective again. Notice this: payment is loan times a rate divided by 1,000. So my payment is what based on this? 1,200 bucks. What's my loan? 192,000 times rate over 1,000. I'm just going to leave it at that. What do I need to do now to slowly get R on its own? I'm going to multiply both sides by 1,000. How is that? And so basically you just add 3 zeros to that answer. 1, 2, 3. And on this side you just do this, right? So you're down to 192,000 R. And then you need to divide both sides by 192,000. And then you cancel. 5 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, divided by. And you get 6.25. What is that? What did you just find? This rate, where do you get this from? That you get that from a table. So grab your pink sheet. This is the table rate. Table rate, by the way, okay? Don't confuse this R with that R. Should have called this TB or something. TBL. So 6.25, I'm going to do investigative work here. I see it right there, 6.25. And notice my interest rate. My interest rate is 5.75, which I knew. So I could match it, right? Like I could just follow 5.75 until I get that 6.25. And then I go up and I know that it takes 25 years. Amortization is 25 years. So I know I'm overdoing it a little bit, I know. So I just like you to know that how things are all connected, really. And so because of this, I'm going to go arrow all the way over to D, arrow all the way over to D, and I'm going to go total interest is 1200 times 12 times 25 minus 192,000, because that's the original loan. I will zoom out in a bit if you want, if I'm going too fast. You would have paid $168,000 in total interest based on this scenario. So the only thing I'm going to say for